How long are these videos usually?
I guess it depends on who's doing them. I mean, I've seen them go like more than 3 hours, which I think is it's like really extreme for me.
Yeah, nobody's gonna watch the entire thing if it's 3 hours too.
Yeah,
Like,
I usually try to average like maybe just a little over an hour.
mm.
So,
No,
um,
when I did the video with the extroverts, we went for like 3 hours. And I was just like, I don't know how I stayed on the video, because the others did most of the talking and I was just listening, but I still was like mentally exhausted afterwards.
yeah, I remember watching that. Like you were like you were hardly talking throughout the whole thing. And
Yeah.
I was yelling at the screen like, let the introvert talk.
Well, it was funny that the ENTP probably talked less than I did.
Oh,
Um, I don't know. Like I wanted to hear why he typed himself as ENTP, because he was so quiet. It wasn't what I expected, but he didn't get to talk.
yeah, yeah. I remember the ESTJ and the ESFP were just kind of like going off. They were doing
Yeah.
most of the talking.
Yeah. Normally, like I there are some extroverts who can sort of like catalyze a conversation with me and get me to talk more. But then there are some extroverts that just totally like they just move too fast. Like
Yeah,
I can't keep up, or I don't have the energy to keep up.
yeah. And that's actually the difference I noticed between ESTJs and ESFJs. Like the ESTJs, I notice just like to talk. They'll just keep going on and on and on. And even if I'm talking, they'll interrupt me because they just have to say what's on their mind. Um, ESFJs will ask me questions, even questions that I'm not interested in answering. Um, they want to ask, like, they want to know like what I thought of a certain movie, or or they'll ask like mundane things like, how's work going? If it's on a weekend, I don't like to talk about work, so I'll just like give like one word answers. But then they'll just kind of jump from topic to topic, and if I give it, once I give my answer, they'll just go right back and talking about whatever's on their mind, and just kind of they go off on tangents all the time, and then don't really have much of a point.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Extroverts, like the one extrovert I found I could communicate really well with was an ENTJ.
Yeah.
We could just have like sometimes it got to a point where it was like, I really don't want to have an argument about this for the sake of arguing, so you can like sound smart, but like I don't know, we would talk about like political things and like, but he would just ask the most random questions, like, do you think monkeys are like more like, do you think a monkey is of the same value as a baby or something? Like a human baby? Like, I don't really know how to respond to that. So, and I didn't really want to argue about things like that. 'Cause it's like, I don't know what I think about that. Like, I, I don't know. Monkeys don't really mean anything to me, so I don't know. Yeah. But and then I have an ENFP friend who I communicate really well with, actually. I don't know. I guess if you're going by the letters, they bring out more of like the underlying into like N side, I guess, when I'm talking with them.
Okay. Yeah, my ENFP, or supposedly ENFP ex roommate, Um, Most of the time we would just goof off. Um, I felt like I could shut off my brain when I was around him. I could just
Huh.
say a bunch of random stuff, and then like the two of us would just be cracking up, like like late at night when nothing else is going on. Um, and then with there was an ESTP that it was actually an ex coworker um, that I would hang out with every once in a while, and we would just um, he would just kind of like make up some cool stuff, like cool little phrases, like um, like gotta respect the beef or
What?
which I mean he would just make up stuff and like make up his own meanings for the little phrases like that and try to get other people to kind of join in. Um,
That weirds me out. I don't know. I like if somebody says something and I don't know, like it's for no reason at all. I'm kind of like, why did you say that? Like, I don't know.
um, yeah. Um, hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever like been good friends with an ENTJ or ENTP or
Yeah.
yeah. I find that I don't. So I notice a lot of people who are into MBTI. They say they like to they try to type people as soon as they meet them or like while they're interacting with someone. And I don't really do that. I just kind of focus on whatever else we're talking about, and then like maybe later on,
Yeah.
I'll go back and like think, oh, what type is this person? And someone that I've known for a while but just never got around to typing.
It used to just be like that for me, but now it's like as soon as I walk up to somebody, I'm like, okay, like, or little things they say will trigger like uh me to think about a certain function. I'll be like, oh, like I wonder if they're saying that because of this or something. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or if I find somebody like behaving in a way that just absolutely makes no sense to me, I'll go, I wonder what type they are.
Yeah, yeah, that too. Um, yeah, I tend to type people that are bizarre to me. Like,
Yeah.
I'll try to figure them out. Um, I don't know.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, if you ask them, if they've ever taken an MBTI test, let's say, yeah, I think I got INTJ, and of course you're thinking, there's no way you're an INTJ.
Yeah, everybody gets INTJ. It's like
Yeah.
you can't, unless you're total extrovert, you can't take the test without getting INTJ at least once.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's that human metrics test. It's the first thing that comes up when you Google personality test. So that
Yeah,
human metrics, and then
I
it's
don't like that one.
yeah, it is totally biased toward INTJ. You could it was probably written by an INTJ who just doesn't understand other types. Or they don't understand how other types would answer the questions.
Yeah, I
So
got INTP on that one.
oh, okay.
I got INTJ on actually the cognitive function based test, not the MBTI test.
Hmm.
So on the website Similar Minds, have you heard of that one?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So their regular MBTI test I got. Um, well, I tested as INTJ first, the very first time I took it, and then I was like, I read it and I was like, I'm not a robot. I'm not like all the stereotypical things like that they say about INTJs. Just like this sounds way too extreme for me. Like maybe I'm like this, but it's more toned down. Um, so I figured INTP was the next best thing, and sort of settled on that. And then of course I started taking the tests and testing as INTP. because once you have an idea of what you are, it's sort of biased towards that.
yeah.
If I take the test now, I'm ISTP, so it's like...
Yeah, same here.
I think the tests are sort of worthless.
Yeah.
Whatever you think you are, you're going to test it that way. And I've done that, like, I've sort of tested that theory with, so, like, I make up a lot of original characters in my head for a story I'm never going to write, but I'll be like, okay, well, I'm deciding this character is INTP based off of just, that's what I want them to be. And then when I take the test, like, based off of how I've written about them in the past, not necessarily what I want them to be, like, they come out as whatever type that I planned for them.
Wow.
It's just really weird. It's like, sometimes they don't, actually. I've gotten some that were surprising. And then sometimes, like, I want a character to be a certain type, and they never come out as that type. Like, I've tried, I'm trying to get a character to be INFJ, and they keep coming out ISTP, and then, and INTJ. Like, I can't figure it out. Can't break the system.
Okay, that's something I've never tried before. Like I've had fictional characters, but they're always based on myself. So they're just whatever personality I am at the time, or whatever I think I am.
That's so weird. Like, I've heard that from another ISTP. Like, that when they're designing a character, it's always based off of themselves. It's like an idealized version of themselves.
Yeah.
And like, I don't like to do that at all. I would say my, like, main character, actually my main character is an ISTJ, and I didn't want her to be that way. She just became that way on her own. Like, I have no control over making my characters a certain way, so they, like, I can't make them like myself. They start to morph into something different.
Yeah. And the funny thing is you were saying earlier about how you didn't relate at all to the INTJ description. I actually could relate to INTJ, like, more so than other types.
So, I mean, I would say I relate to maybe 70% of the INTJ description.
Yeah, I mean, when I read it now, just because I know myself better now, I can read the INTJ description and go, oh yeah, that's not me. But, like, I think the problem I had before was, like, just because I didn't really know myself that well, and I didn't really understand, like, a lot of the things that it was describing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would talk about, like, strategic planning and I forgot some of the other phrases, but there were things that I would not have recognized as, like, things that I don't do. So I would zero in on the similarities between me and the INTJ, and I would go, okay, yeah, that sounds like me, and then all this other stuff, I'm like, well, yeah, I guess that could be me. And so I would just go with, like, oh yeah, INTJ sounds a lot like me. As opposed to ISTP, which has all those stereotypes that I don't match, and so I would just, like, take those things and I go, okay, well, that's not me, and I would just reject the whole type. Same thing with ISTJ. ISTJ has, like, stuff like, well, you like to create schedules, and you're always on time, and you're always organized. I go, okay, well, that's not me. And so I would look, so since I was typing between ISTJ and INTJ, I go, okay, then I must be INTJ. So that, I think, there was a point where I actually thought I was an INTJ.
Do you feel like people think that because ISTPs are perceivers, that they are less organized, when actually, like, it's just that the things that need to be organized just come that way effortlessly? Like, I don't need to write a schedule, because I know, like, everything I need to do in the next few weeks, like,
Yeah.
and I've already designated a time in my head to do it. So it's like it's not going to, like, writing down isn't going to help me.
Yeah, and then, I have like I'm basically organized in my head.
Yeah.
So like, if you walk into, like my living, or you can actually kind of see behind me, like my kitchen counter and stuff like that. There's a lot of junk sitting there that really, most people would say doesn't belong there. And it's like they'll look and go, how can you find anything in that mess? And I go, well, easily. I know where everything is.
Yeah.
Everything that I need, I know exactly where it is. I have clothes on my dining room table, and well, I know. I could tell by looking at this pile of clothes what I'm gonna wear on Monday. Um, and I'm the only one who could look at my pile of clothes and be able to tell you that. It is not the thing that's on top, and it's not the thing that's on the bottom. There's a method to the madness, but it makes sense only to me.
Huh.
Um,
That's sort of the only area that it doesn't work for me, because my clothes are literally in various piles throughout my room, and I have no idea what I own anymore. And like I it seems like it should be easy. Like, I should be able to think of an outfit I wore in the past and wear that outfit again because I liked how it looked. But every time I go to put together an outfit, because I'm sort of into clothes, it's sort of like I like to put together outfits. It's like fresh and everything's like, oh, maybe this will look good with this. And I just, like, when everything's in a pile, I can't really make any picture out of it. So I have to start, like, going through the piles and just find the first thing that looks plausible, and then find something that works with it, and then I end up just looking like I picked something up off the floor.
yeah.
Yeah. But with other items, like, I don't know, nothing else is organized in my room either, and I don't have an issue with anything else. Because it's sort of, I have a lot of stuff I don't need, so I sort of keep the stuff that I use every day in a small little area right by my bed, and I just basically live off my bed. So, like,
yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Like the stuff that I use all the time is like just kind of around this one tiny little area. And there's like corners of my home that I haven't touched in weeks or maybe even months that are just kind of gathering dust that I just don't even pay attention to anymore. Like I forget what's there. And so like the next time I go to if for some reason I have to do some cleaning, like people are going to come over or something, and I go over and like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is still here. It's like, oh yeah, or like I'll find something that I remember looking for a long time ago. But yeah, the stuff that I use every day, like I pretty much know like where it is, and I don't really have any problems with like figuring out like like the simplest. Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I just kind of like.
It's like, have you ever come across types of people who, even though there's an obvious, like, simple place where something should go, such as their keys, like, they can never remember where they put them?
Oh, yeah.
And something like that to me is like, well, wouldn't they be in your purse? Or, like, and that's sort of how I think of my items. Like, I can think, where would I put this? And usually it's there. Unless something terrible's happened in my room. I don't know.
Yeah. And like what's really annoying though is, and this is why I never invite my parents over here anymore, is my mom like just has to go on like a cleaning rampage. And so like, and then she'll like, she'll put things away, things that need to like be put away, like that. I keep my toaster out for a reason, because I use it all the time. My mom thinks it needs to be put away, and so she'll like put it away without telling me. I go, "Where's my toaster?" And she's like, oh, "I put it away." Like, "Where?" And she'll, and I'm like trying to talk to her on the phone, like, and she'll be trying to describe where it is, and of course she doesn't remember. She just thinks it should be obvious to me because I live here.
Why would you put away a toaster? I don't know. Like, to me, electronics go on the counter. Yeah, I wouldn't. I couldn't even deal with it if somebody came over to my house and touched my stuff and moved it around. I'd be like, no, it's not okay.
Yeah, because I mean, it looks messy, but at least I know where everything is. Like I know where I have, like, there's a pile of white socks next to my bed. I know that those are all clean. So if I need a clean pair of white socks, I know exactly where to go.
Yeah. Yeah, when my mom comes into my room, she's just like, she just gets horrified, and I just push her out, and I'm like, don't look too closely at anything.
Yeah.
Because it's too messy, and she isn't the kind of person who'd start cleaning stuff, but the mess would stress her out. So.
Yeah. Well, actually, usually what my mom does, I mean, she'll only move things around if she has to in the process of cleaning something else. Like, usually she'll go straight for the kitchen and start cleaning the sink, cleaning the stove. Because like even if I recently cleaned it, apparently it's not a good enough job for her, so she'll just redo it. But in the meantime, like, stuff is in the way, so she has to move it, and she'll go, okay, well, this shouldn't even be here anyway. She'll just put it somewhere else, somewhere that to her makes sense for it to go.
My mom is totally like that in the kitchen. That's exactly how she is.
Yeah.
It's like, does your mom like arbitrarily decide that certain things shouldn't go in places, and then will get stressed out if they're in that place, but like you can't really change the habits because it doesn't make any sense to you, like why it shouldn't be there? And
well, yeah, for her it's mainly just she doesn't like to see things out. Like, if there's a space for it in cupboards, then it should be put away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she doesn't like to see clutter. That's what it is. And so
it's not so much like that for my mom. It's like the kitchen could be totally in a, like, what I would call cluttered. Like, there is stuff that I would think should be put away, but then there's like a spoon in the wrong side of the sink, and my mom doesn't like it. And there's there's cups that are around the sink, and for some reason can't use the sink because of that, and the cups need to be taken care of, or like we can't put certain spatulas in the dishwasher because she thinks they'll get caught on the top even though they don't, and like, I don't know. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me, but
yeah, I think what it comes down to is like my mom just has a hard time comprehending that I do things differently than she does.
Yeah.
And I try to explain that to her, and then she goes like, well, that's strange. And I go, well, it's my home. I can do things however I want.
Yeah. It's sort of different for me because when I go back home, it's my parents' house, but still, it's like everybody else in the house is more like me. Like it doesn't matter if something's not immediately in your way; it can stay there. To me, but
yeah, yeah, it's a lot different now because I have my own house, and then my parents have their own house. Like, we don't even live in the house that I grew up in anymore because my parents actually moved to Washington State a few years after I did. Mm-hmm. So they had their own place, and I had my own place. And so when I go over to visit my parents, everything's fine because I just act like a guest, and they treat me like a guest. But it just whenever my parents come here, my mom tries to take over and try to make things the way they should be. So that's that yeah. So I basically stopped inviting them over. I can just go over there and and everyone's happy.
That works. Well.
Yeah. So I guess we've been going for more than an hour now. So.
Yeah. I'm getting pretty. I don't know. Tired. I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
Introverted, tired.
Yeah. But anyways, it was good talking to you.
Me too.
Yeah. So yeah, it was interesting. I think it actually went smoother than I thought it would for an ISTP interaction. I know we had some pauses, but I actually expected it to be worse than that.
I don't mind pauses. I expect there to be pauses generally when I talk to people. So.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah, it was interesting. So I'll probably edit this video and then post it to Personality Cafe maybe tomorrow or something.
Okay, cool.
So, all right, well, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.